Hi everyone, I'm Ben, a learning manager at the Raspberry Pi Foundation and content creator for our Experience AI resources.
Hi, I'm Tessy. I'm also a learning manager at the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and I'm really intrigued by AI and careers in AI. I am excited for today's show.
Cool, and Tessy, we've spoken a number of times ahead of this webinar, and I think it's fair to say that both of us are pretty excited about this one.
Absolutely. And AI is a really trending topic at the moment, and it's really important to think about where young people fit into the tech sector, and particularly where they fit in AI.
Yeah, now we've both been classroom teachers in our past lives in the UK, and you more recently than me. But can you tell us, Tessy, why is it important to include career information in the subjects that we're teaching?
Definitely. I've always championed careers talks and information about careers for young people from very early on. And this is because it's important for them to actually see where the skills they're learning will eventually lead to, particularly when we live in a society, in a visual world. Everything is instant on TikTok and other platforms that young people love. We need to show them that learning about careers in tech and particularly careers in AI, like I said, it's so important. And recently, Amazon worked with a research firm, Access Partnership, and they found very key information. They've discovered that hiring AI skilled talent is a priority for 73% of employers. But among these employers, 3 out of 4 say they're unable to meet the AI talent needs. So that means people need upskilling, and employers expect that their workers will earn up to 47% more in salaries if they upskill in AI. So better still for the young people entering in now to already have built up those skills.
Yeah, definitely. And those are really interesting stats. And I think they really highlight why it's really important that we should be talking to young people now about AI and AI related careers.
I agree. And Ben, you said you create the content for Experience AI. You're always talking about it. You're not modest at all, right? I'm just joking. Do we have any resources on careers in AI at the moment that educators and students can point to?
Well, you're so right. We do. I'm so pleased you asked, Tessy, because absolutely we do. So if you've heard me talk, as Tessy quite rightly pointed out, or you've seen any of our previous webinars, you'll be aware that we have a free unit of work called Experience AI. And here are the 6 lessons that make up the unit. Now, it's important to note, I've highlighted there lesson 6, that we cover AI careers and careers in AI specifically in lesson 6, but also we cover it throughout the whole unit as well. So AI careers are highlighted and showcased in all of the lessons that we have inside the unit. Now, as Tessy mentioned before, it's exciting to think about the opportunities that exist in AI, but also the new opportunities that are emerging. So before we go any further, if you have any questions during the webinar, please ask them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer some of them at the end. So I would really like us, Tessy, to start off by watching one of my absolute favorite videos from this unit, and it's all about AI careers.
I'm excited.
Creating AI applications requires lots of different people with diverse skills, personalities, and experiences working across a variety of jobs and careers. I wonder what draws people to explore the field of machine learning. What's it really like to work in AI? And what can we get excited about for the future?
It's great to have something to wake up in the morning for, and knowing that hopefully one day that the sort of models that my team builds could hopefully impact like a little bear in the woods.
I get to play with robots every single day. What's not to like about that?
I feel that the problems I get to work on are actually important for the world. I feel like there's kind of a real purpose to what I'm doing. And also like I get to work with really great people.
Every single day, we get to apply cutting-edge technology to the world's most pressing problem, or what I think the world's most pressing problem is, which is climate change.
Probably like more artsy than you'd expect. My wife disagrees that I'm an artist. I claim I am, and it's the same. It's very creative and so on.
This was something that when I joined DeepMind, was quite surprised to find, is really that there are a wider diversity of people in different roles here than almost any company I've ever worked in before. And the nature of AI is, if we want to use it as a tool to solve this wide range of problems, then we need input from people from all sorts of different jobs because they're experts in their area.
We are just beginning to scratch the surface of the exciting industrial and scientific discoveries that can be done with models like these.
The potential benefits in like science and healthcare really exciting, because that's where I guess it, at least like on the surface, seems to change people's lives for the better the most. The models can help us invent new kinds of medicines, or maybe it can help us develop kind of technology that we can't even imagine today.
I hope that the work we do can kind of decrease inequality by, there's a number of routes to this. So there's obviously reducing the repetitive tasks that some people have to do, but also there's ways that we can use AI to help people communicate better, to come to decisions.
Don't underestimate the applicability of AI for whatever that might be. I wanted to work in climate change mitigation and adaptation, and it's not necessarily the first place that one might think of applying AI, given technology and the environment.
Even if you're not necessarily in this STEM area, I would highly encourage you to get on top of the trends if you find it interesting, and certainly join the conversations. It's not just that we would like to hear from you, I would say we need to hear from you.
So I think it's very important that people with different interests and different backgrounds get involved, because otherwise we won't be able to build good AI for the future.
Even if you don't think AI is what you want to do, figure out what it is you want to do, and then just ask yourself if there's an application of AI, because you might be surprised.
You can do it. We try to be as open and inclusive. It's really open for anyone. And I truly believe that.
So, no matter what your interests, passions, or skills are, you can find an exciting future in the field of machine learning. Artificial intelligence is for everyone.
Wow, that was such an informative video, Ben. I know now why it's your favorite.
Right.
Focusing now on our resources, I say our, but you're created. You've categorized AI careers into 3 sectors so students and educators can better understand what they entail. So we have the social and ethical careers that focus on the impact of AI and machine learning on society. We have applications-focused careers, which involve implementing learning models into a larger software system. And then we have careers focused on creating, training, and testing machine learning models. And these are all in the resource that's available for people to use.
Yeah, I do think that's a really useful way of thinking about different areas of AI career. So people don't have this narrow view of what an AI career looks like. But rather than us saying anything more about it, Tessy, normally we have some special guests on these episodes that we're doing. So do we have any guests joining us today?
Yes, we actually have 3 guests for this webinar. So I'd like to welcome our first special guest, Anna Salazar. You might remember Anna, who's been on our previous webinar about the AI lifecycle. We're so excited to have you back, Anna. You must have dropped so much wisdom. We definitely needed you back. You currently work for Google DeepMind, but previously have worked for other companies doing work in AI too. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Okay, thank you very much, Tessy and Ben. I'm very happy to be here back again. It's very exciting, this program. Once again, thank you for making me part of this. So I am Anna Salazar. I am a research engineer, senior lead at Google DeepMind. I run a team of research engineering. They work across different research projects in Google DeepMind. My background, I'm an electronic engineer. I need to say, I was not aiming to be an engineer at all. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. That means a surgeon that can open people's head and do surgery on that. That was what I was aiming for. But for circumstances, I finished being an engineer, an electronic engineer. I did a master on digital signal processing, and I came to England 16 years ago to do a PhD in computer science. I have worked in a lot of companies. I have worked in the academia for 10 years. I was having students for PhD students and helping with the thesis. And then I moved to the industry, to the research and development. in different areas. I work for biometrics, and these scanners, when you go and put your passport in the airport and they scan your passport and tell you where did you fly. I work and design that. I'm very happy. Each time I fly, I still think, oh, my work is there on that scanners in the airports. And then I work for a company that designs hardware to accelerate neural networks, artificial intelligence. And, and then I moved here to the frontier of AI, Google DeepMind.
So that's really interesting. So, you haven't really come from, I was going to say a conventional background or route into AI, but I guess there isn't one actually. What is it specifically about AI that hooked you or made you want to kind of, move from kind of this engineering field into thinking, I want to kind of look at AI technologies?
Yeah, thank you. So let me tell you the reason, because I'm not coming from the traditional one, is because, as you can imagine, I'm not super young. So AI pick up this only on the last maybe 10 years or so. I started my career 25 years ago, where AI wasn't the hot topic, right? So I studied engineering, electronics, and all that. About the excitement of being AI, it's been there, right? It's been there making the history. It's been there on the edge of the technology, impacting that thing that will be the future of everybody. That's the exciting part, and that's what I'm very happy to be part of the AI project.
Sounds great. And thinking about your journey into this as well, it must have been really exciting. So we've looked at different categories of careers in AI. And if someone wanted to work in other fields that's not particularly engineering, so like the social and ethical sector, what other subject or skills would you recommend them, especially students, to learn while at school?
Basically anything, Tessy. AI is a multidisciplinary field. I can tell you, if we are thinking on AI agents, you would like to understand how they will socialize. So anybody with a social technical background would be amazing. And if you think you want to use AI to create agents like for weather climate, if you have a background on physics or weather background, we need that person. But basically, on this AI project, any kind of career background is very important, because we are trying to create AI for everybody. And in order to create AI for everybody, it needs to come from different backgrounds, from different mindsets, to ensure that we are creating AI for everybody.
That's such an excellent answer, Anna. And I think you've started to touch on what I'm thinking about next. I mean, why do you think it's important to encourage students from more diverse communities to work in tech and also to work in AI? And are there any personal stories you can relate to, from your own journey that might inspire, people out there?
Absolutely. So like I was saying, I believe AI is powerful, and we have to construct it. We want to construct it for everybody. I always say to my team, if this is a problem and we all think in this direction, the answer will be in this direction. But if we as a team, we are diverse mindsets, we coming from different backgrounds, we think different, we will attack the problem in different directions, and the answer will be solid, will be absolutely solid, because we think different. And that's the power of diversity, right? Think different, cross-pollinate our thoughts, and the result of this problem is strong.
Yeah, so that's really interesting, and I think that what you've just said there applies to all industry. I think it's important for any kind of walk of life that we have a more diverse range of people with different opinions and experiences to kind of help make decisions. So why do you think that's specific, or why are people saying it's specifically important in relation to AI?
It's for the potential, right? The potentials of AI. You're right, absolutely. Any kind of industry should be aware of the power of diversity when you're solving problems, especially if this tool is going to impact millions of people, if this tool is going to impact diversity.
I absolutely agree. And it leads me on to thinking about role models. I think you've touched on there, Ben. What do you think about, are you a role model, would you say, for girls, especially, how tough it is in the tech sector? There is a statistic, I hope I'm quoting it right, that says that only like 12% of the tech workforce is women. We don't know what that is in terms of AI specifically as well. So, what advice would you give to girls or marginalized communities to encourage them to be in the room, I mean, I know you've talked about, just having those diverse minds, but also what's another drive that can really, how will AI empower them? What would you say to them?
Okay, so I don't feel personally as a role model, but definitely I'm a peak, right? On the distribution of, I'm a peak. There is not many women in engineering. There is not many women on AI. I can tell you part of my journey here is because I come from third world population. It's a country in development. I am from Mexico, and the opportunities that the government support economically are technology and science. So when you are coming from a poor background like me, and the opportunity to study a career, had the opportunity to go to a university, is really focused on technology and engineering. And that said, it's because the government knows that's the future, right? So lots of people like me were encouraged to study engineering and technology because that's where they were supporters with the scholarships. And they are really much into that. That said, in contrast, like my country, Mexico, the number of women working on technology and engineering is higher than in England. We're talking about nearly 30% of women in Mexico work in technology. And that makes a lot of difference on the way the final product comes out, right? It's impactful.
You come from a very engineering background, and I think there's a lot of people who see AI or might be put off by AI careers because they think there's lots of maths involved. And I'm sure in your work there is lots of maths involved in the things that you do. But what would you say to young people who aren't maybe as confident in things like maths, or maybe don't feel engineering's for them? Is there a place for them at these amazing AI companies like DeepMind?
Absolutely. AI is for everybody, right? Here at Google DeepMind, we have people that come from other backgrounds. We have biologists, we have sociologists, we have people that study geography. Absolutely, there is room for everybody. But specifically about maths, it is, I said to my son, it's like broccoli. You don't like it, but try it once and it works. And eventually you will like broccoli. So if you don't like maths, try a little bit, solve the problem, feel that stamina of I solve it, go for another problem that is more complex and more complex, and maths grow on you just naturally. I believe the power of maths and leaning on the fundamental science like math, physics, chemistry is the base of the success on AI, and then you can pivot on other areas.
That's a really lovely answer, and definitely I've been making notes about the broccoli analogy to talk to my children about tonight. So I'm sure, to reach where you've got to in your career, Anna, you've probably faced some challenges along the way. What kind of challenges have you come across and how have you overcome them?
Okay, I'm glad that you asked me this question because that's actually my job as a people manager. My job is to unblock the potentials of people, engineers, research scientists, research engineers, and make them grow, right? So I see these challenges are always all the time, right? There is no perfect road that you said it was smooth and nothing was on the way. Challenges are there all the time. But I tend to take the approach of lean on your strengths, not your strengths first, lean on that ones and find where you need to fill up that gaps, and then find a way to fill them up. The how many gaps you want to fill up and how is a very personal decision. And I repeat this like to one person in my team. 1 year, I might be leaning on my strengths 95% and growing only 5% because I have other things going on. In another year, I might growing only 1%. In another year, I lean on my strengths only 80% and I grow 20%. And these things tends to evolve with the time. It tends to evolve with the personal situations. Like when didn't have kids, I had more hands on my time. And now that I have kids, I had to balance this. It's a reality. I had to balance kids, family, and these kind of things need to be in a balance. And that's how I do.
Yeah, again, a really nice answer. And it kind of sounds like what you're saying is that, you've really got to work on the things that you're strong about. Don't worry too much about those weaknesses. Grow your strengths and focus a little bit on and growing the other things that you want to become better at, which I think is a really nice answer. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Anna. That was a really, really, it was really great speaking to you and really inspiring as well. So thank you. Now, if you have any questions for Anna, please add them into the chat and either we'll answer them at the end, or maybe, Anna, we could ask you to keep an eye on the chat just for the next few minutes and see if you can answer people directly. That would be lovely. Okay, so Tessy, you mentioned that we have multiple guests today. So shall we bring in the next one?
Good idea. It's already been so exciting, and let's have more. Also from Google DeepMind, we have our next special guest, Anastasia Ilić. Welcome, Anya. Can you tell us about yourself and what is it that you do at Google DeepMind?
Thank you very much, Tessy. Yes.
Having a few microphone issues. Are we okay now?
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for some microphone interference. So thank you very much, Tessy and Ben, for inviting me to be here. I'm very excited to share my background and listen to what everyone's doing and also share my experiences. So I'm Anastasia, or Anya for short. I finished university last year. So I finished my master's last year. So compared to Anna, I think I'm giving a little bit of a younger background, both in my career, but also in AI. And I did, so again, not fully focused on AI. I did information and computer engineering. And before that, I did a lot of physics competitions. So I would say that my background is a bit varied, not too much AI, but yeah, in the past year, it's certainly been a lot of AI in Google DeepMind.
Cool. So, I mean, you've touched a little bit about your educational background there, but can we delve into that a little bit more and tell us, what was your route into AI? How do we get from kind of school to university and then think, you know what, I want to work in AI?
Yeah, thank you. That's really a great question. So I don't think I had anything planned, in fact. And as I was going through my high school and then later university, AI was starting to become something more popular. And we've certainly seen in the last year how it's reached wider public as well. So during my high school, I don't think there was a planned route, but it was rather just the steps along the way that I followed. So I was just following what I found interesting. At the time, it was physics. It was understanding physical problems, doing the maths behind it. Then that led into some computer simulations for physics. Then I realized, I like coding. So then I coded a little bit more. In coding, there was maths involved, but also code behaves exactly in the way you tell it to behave in most of the times. So that kind of, this was a combination of maths and coding. So what can I do next? Then AI emerged. I saw how people are applying both their mathematical background, but as Anna said earlier, you could apply some foundational knowledge that you have from physics as well in AI, and just AI kind of appeared there. But I would say I didn't, up until my last year of university, I wasn't entirely sure that AI is what I want to do. So there was no prerequisite. I wasn't ticking boxes to be where I am. It was just freestyling along the way.
I'm going to pick up on something that you said, which I find really interesting, is that you quite enjoyed kind of this rule-based approach to programming. It was very predictive. You put in an input, you can guess what, you should be able to tell what the output is. So how do you find working in AI? Is that actually more of a challenge that, it's not quite as, deterministic as that?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm trying to bring a bit more of interpretation in AI, and I think that's my diversity contribution to it. So I like when things behave predictably, and I think we're only at the point now where we're only now realizing what's the power of AI, and we're trying to understand why it behaves the way it behaves. So I like kind of breaking it down and seeing why it works. When I was younger, I was always like breaking all my toys down to see why they behave the way they behave. So I guess that's something I'm doing with models as well right now. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that Anna touched on as well. It just sounds really exciting to be at like the forefront of this kind of level of thinking, which is great. Now, as someone who's recently entered the field of AI, can you share any kind of personal experiences that you've had or lessons that you've learned along the way that might benefit some students who are thinking about a career in AI?
Absolutely. I was overwhelmed last year by the number of papers, by the number of advancements that have happened in the last, like, let's say, 10 years, but even like 5 years. So I would maybe my main advice is that feeling overwhelmed when you just enter the AI is completely fine. I was absolutely overwhelmed. I thought that, like, I had thoughts, oh, I'll never catch up with this. This is like, I'm so late to the party that this is never going any, like, I'm not catching up. But then you kind of find your niche area if you relax. I decided at one point that I can't control this, so I just relaxed, went day by day, paper by paper, model by model. So maybe take it a bit slower, especially now when it seems a bit overwhelming and everyone's talking about it. There are so many new and cool things. But yeah, I think that everyone can make their mark on this AI journey, just like taking it slower.
Yeah, that really resonates with me too. As somebody who's really interested in AI, I feel there's so much news. There's always a news story to read or a paper, like you say. So I think the best bit of advice, like you say, is just to not try and be on top of it all. Just focus on the things that are interest you, and just do one step at a time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Wow. And Anya, there's something that you said there that really also resonates with me in terms of practice makes perfect, resilience as well, having a growth mindset. You're not going to walk into something and just be excellent at it. You just have to keep trying every day. So I hope students, keep those up as well as they're learning in school. So you said there's always, changing articles, things to read. So what do you see as the future trends and opportunities in AI? And how can students best position themselves for success, as things are evolving like really quickly?
Yeah, thank you, Tessy, for that question. So I would say, given the past trajectory of AI, the change is inevitable. And I think that trends are changing. So I think positioning yourself, for example, for generative models and working on generative models is maybe not ideal because you're optimizing for just something that's in front of you. But I would say just focus on learning as much as you can of whatever you're learning at the time, and then next time you'll do it quicker. Advice I got when I just got to DeepMind, because I thought I'm never catching up with the field, like this is gone too far. Just do whatever you're doing at the moment the best you possibly can. So learn maths the best you possibly can at school, and then you'll quickly see how you adapt to change, because change will be inevitable. We did reinforcement learning for a while, now we're doing generative models. I don't really know what we're going to do in 10 years. So maybe, yeah, that's the main takeaway.
Thank you so much for that. And I love what you said, like change is constantly happening. So really great answer there. Thank you.
Cool. Oh, well, those are really amazing responses, Anya. Thank you so much. It's been a real delight listening to you, to hear you share your experiences in AI. And I'm sure everyone listening is also like really interested and inspired by what you said. So thank you. And again, Anya, if anybody has any questions for Anya out there, would you put them in the chat for us? And maybe, Anya, you could keep an eye on the chat and respond to some of them along the way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some of the next slides from the lesson. So once your students have learned about the different areas of AI careers, they get the opportunity to take a look at some career profiles of some of the DeepMinders that they've seen in the videos throughout the unit. So we get to separate them out into social and ethical, application, model, areas of career. So these are just some of the people that we've got. So we've got Jessica, Skander and Stevie. We've got lots more, but the job is for your students is to take a moment to really look at their profiles and see if they can categorize what area of AI they work in. But also look at their kind of key attributes, look at their backgrounds, their roots into working in AI. And then once they've done that, we then ask them to like spend a little bit of time going, which one of those resonates with you? Which one of those would be a role model to you? To hopefully build up their aspirations and think maybe a career in AI might well be for them.
This all looks so fantastic, Ben. Really well done on this content. And, you know, we've focused a lot on careers in AI, but now let's talk about AI related careers. So this is different because rather than, you know, just thinking about creating, training, all of that, we're thinking about other job roles like mine and yours and other people's that are changing because of AI. So Ben, do we have another guest?
We do have another guest. Yes, we have a third guest, would you believe? Now, I'm really pleased to introduce one of our very own colleagues from the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and that is Matt Sisk. So welcome, Matt.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for having me. It seems a little bit weird to come on here and talk about AI as a creative, but it's definitely something that's impacted my work phenomenally in this last sort of year or so. So yeah, thank you.
Cool. Well, Matt, it's a real pleasure to have you on. Now, Matt will be too modest to tell you this, I think, but Matt is the man behind the camera for all of our videos that you've seen in the unit. And not just that, but he did all the super impressive like scene setting, cutting and editing. So that's what Matt's been doing for us. So like I say, really great to have you here. Now, first question for you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your job role?
Yes, so hi, I'm Matt. I'm a video producer and creative for the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and I'm behind sort of the learning resources that we do, both formal and non-formal, all of our short films, podcasts, animations, photography, anything to do with our brand, really, and our partners such as Google DeepMind.
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself there. So, Matt, we're here to talk about AI. Now, the people we've spoken to so far work directly in AI. AI maybe has an impact on your work life. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? How has AI impacted the work that you do?
Yeah, so AI has really sort of transformed, well, my role, especially over the last sort of year or two. I think the tools and techniques that we have now have really been able to optimize sort of, I'd say sort of budget, time and the resources that we have. I can sort of borrow skill sets from other areas that I'm sort of unfamiliar to. And things that were not possible before are now, which is great. I think it's a lot more accessible in terms of the content that we create. We translate all of our sort of content into many languages now for international audiences. And open and closed captioning, for example, can be done very easily and very accurately. And also save me a little bit, which is a weird thing to say, but things go wrong in production, and the ability to sort of save projects through audio and visual is a bit more, it just means I have a safety net now, which is great to have. And I think it's weird that a lot of the applications that we've always had have now jumped on the AI sort of bandwagon sort of terminology, but it's stuff that we've always really used that rely on this.
Fantastic, Matt. It sounds like there's so many enhancements to your job now, thanks to AI. So then, you know, I'm going to be a bit cheeky and say, then do we need as many video producers in the marketplace in the future as we have now? I mean, if AI can do the job, and Elon Musk says that AI will replace our jobs, is he right? What do you think about that?
So to that, I think, yeah, I wish. I think we say in one of our lessons that I wish I could step away from the computer and it comes back and it's done things that I couldn't believe, but it needs a driver. So we still need creatives with a vision and the ability to power projects. It's true that the industry has changed. There's no doubt about that. But there are more creative jobs than ever, designers, videographers, etc. I think the theme is now that they're more spread out and they're less concentrated to these big brands and big production houses. With so much content being created and the high demand within the industry for entertainment, marketing, promotion, all this sort of content that's being created. Each brand, each small company has their own either team of creatives or creatives that are in-house producing content. And I think that's, yeah, it's just a lot more accessible for creatives to get into the industry. It's true that it has removed jobs, but I'd say those jobs are more tasks. So tasks I have to do, the workflow that I have, for example, stuff like rotoscoping or masking, which is where I have to go around each little object frame by frame in a 50 frame per second sort of video. AI can have that role. I'm happy to let that one go. It's the same for captioning. I'm happy to put that to one side. And long form content editing, again, happy for AI to take that. And it allows me, I would say, to be more of the creative behind the projects.
That is such a brilliant answer. And I'm just so happy to hear that. I was talking about that today: empowerment, ownership, accessibility, so more people can get into fields that they never thought or dreamt of getting into. So I'm really happy that that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And now you've talked about all this content that AI is enhancing or tools you've used. So how will we be able to know when AI has been used to generate content? I mean, apart from the very blatant ones, I'm like, this is weird. But how don't you think it's important for us to know when, videos or content have been created by AI?
Yeah, so I think especially with marketing material, I think transparency is key, especially with targeted influential content. But in regards to sort of creative workflow, it's a weird sort of ground where professionals still create the same products. It just means that getting from A to B is a lot more efficient, sort of depending on the project. And I think in this day and age, for something to stand out, it still has to be powered by a human. Otherwise, it's sort of generic or it's trained on previous events. It lacks personality. I think the way to stand out, especially in such a saturated landscape full of generated content, is to use talented people. And I think that's when you'll be able to tell when something is not generated by AI, because it will have personality.
I think what you've just said really, really resonates with me. Like, we need to remember that human beings create machines and AI learning and everything else. And, that talent, like you said, comes from human beings and makes us really creative. Like, who's going to make the next best thing? That's going to come from us, right? Thank you so much for answering that.
Yeah, and I'm going to build on that a little bit, because I think what worries me slightly is there might be young people out there who see the kind of things that ChatGPT can do, for example, or maybe like Adobe Firefly creating all this wonderful generative AI artwork. I just worry that maybe they think, maybe I shouldn't be studying English, maybe I shouldn't care about art. What kind of things would you say to a young person who might be starting to have those thoughts?
So I think in regards to those sorts of thoughts and things, I'm a creative that creates computer science content, and I never saw that coming. But like I said, you still need to have the skills and visions as before, and you need to know how to get there. You need to follow principles, best practice, and these new tools that are out there, they're great and they help me along the way, but they won't do it for me. So I think you've got to know your stuff. And I think if I were to give advice to anyone in school now that wanted to sort of enter the workplace and have skills and things to sort of take forward, it is that I think one would be to be a quick learner, for example, and embrace change. I think the industry is evolving every single day. It's not like we have the past and now this is the present and going forwards. You have to keep up to date, and it's exhausting because it changes every single day. So being able to embrace change is a fantastic sort of starting point. I think number two is we need like good problem solvers, and I think that's something you learn throughout school. It's know that you have the reins to create whatever you want, but what you are doing essentially is solving problems. You have a goal, and you just need to get there. And we need creatives to power that, and that's exactly what they do. And I think the last point would be to take advantage though of the fact that you're being digitally native. Young people are taking on creatives with decades of experience, and that's because they've grown up with this technology, and that's a huge advantage. Definitely use it. I think the takeaway from all of this would be that we still need creatives, and I think with such a saturated digital landscape, I think perhaps maybe more than ever.
Thank you so much, Matt, for dropping so many gems. You've honestly motivated us. And being someone that applies AI to their jobs, it's also very important to hear your insights. I mean, according to the Amazon survey that we mentioned earlier, AI will become more integrated into businesses. 93% of businesses expect that they will be applying AI solutions across their business in the next 5 years. So thank you for that, Matt. So if you have any questions for Matt, please add them to the chat. We'll either answer them at the end, or Matt might reply to you directly in the chat. This has been so good.
I know, I can't believe we've reached the time that we have, to be honest with you. I feel like we've only just started. I've enjoyed it so much. So let's use this as an opportunity to bring all three guests back together, and we'll see if we've got any questions in the chat for them to answer.
I'm sure we do.
Do we have any questions? So we have one from Andy. So it says, what is the best thing you can do to prepare for a switch in disciplines to AI as someone who has already been to university, etc.? Says, I am a biomedical research. I am in the biomedical research field and would like to pursue an AI role in industry as this is becoming more important, such as in the drug development, but I don't know where to start. So can any of you answer that question? How about you, Anna? Do you have an answer for that question?
Absolutely. So I will say in 2 words, open source. Right now, there is lots of free courses online where you can start to pick up the concepts of AI, machine learning, generative neural networks. And also there is lots of open source coding libraries where you can start to pick up all this. And also there is lots of help. If you just post something on internet and say, how can I, you will be able to start to pick up that knowledge. And you will be surprised, lots of companies that develop drugs these days, they have their own department on AI.
Brilliant. And I want to use this as an opportunity, Andy, to plug our own online course that we have. So if you go to the Experience AI website, there is a free online course that you can take part in that tells you, as Anna said, the basics behind some of the key core concepts behind machine learning and AI. Thank you.
I think there's a question from PJ, and it says, do you think countries that have not changed their curriculum in schools to include coding and robotics will ever catch up with the rest of the world?
Great question.
Like to
anybody think they can tackle that one?
I've got some thoughts, but I want to know what the people actually in AI think.
Anya, did you have robotics in your school curriculum when you were at school?
Me?
Either of you?
Oh, maybe, yeah, I can take that one. So I actually didn't have any robotics as curriculum. For the first time, I saw a robot. It was here at Google DeepMind. So yeah, I don't think it was super necessary. I think that more foundational things such as maths and physics, like some solid background that you can later rely on, is way more important than specializing early on.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think just to add to that, same thing like Anya has said, I think the key skills are those problem solving. And I think Matt said that earlier as well, and adapting to change, those things can be taught any which way, regardless of if you have coding or robotics, and then be applied later on. I think that the tech sector is so good because it doesn't matter at what stage you come into it, you still have a chance. You can learn later in life, like Anna has, and I think that that's very key to lean into. So for those that might not have it in their curriculum right now in other developing countries or elsewhere in the world, at some point they can definitely have it and they would still have a chance. And I hope that AI creates that ownership for them to try all the jobs, like Matt said, that they may not have tried before.
Yeah, and maybe just to add on that, so for my first 2 years of university, I didn't have any extensive coding courses, and I've myself experienced a lot of open sourced material that Anna just mentioned, and you could learn a lot on your own, because with coding, at the end of the day, it's you and the code. It's not really how much someone teaches you, like you need to break it in order to learn how to do it. So I think I had lots of fun on my own, rather than just being taught how exactly to do it. Like, yes, you learn some principles, but then it's just hours and hours that you spend on your own debugging things, and that's how you learn. So yeah, I'm very confident that it's possible to enter the world of AI from reading and learning whatever there is online. And let me tell you, there are YouTube tutorials for everything. So yeah.
And, as we touched upon before, that, careers in AI don't just look like people who can program. There are people who are, policymakers, people who think about the social ethical things. They are so important, the project managers and things like that. So, yeah, hopefully that's come across in the webinar as well today. I have a last question. This is specifically for Anna and Anya. I know when I say I get to visit the Google DeepMind offices occasionally, people go, "That's really cool," and I go, "Yeah, it is cool." What can you answer? What is the coolest thing about your job? You can tell me about the office because your office is really cool, but anything else that's really cool about working at DeepMind?
Yeah, I can say I've been here for a year, and I think the coolest thing are people. Like, yes, all the perks around the office are great. But because of the wide diversity of people that you work with, they're all very approachable. You can learn a lot. Like I learn every day, and people are very nice. They'd always stop for a coffee chat to explain you something, to talk to you, to unblock you. You can hear different perspectives, hear maybe some standpoints that you never even thought about, because people come from different backgrounds. So it's just like, I feel that I've expanded in the last year, and that's my favorite thing about Google DeepMind. But yeah, Anna?
That's a fantastic answer. Thank you. Anna?
Oh, I can tell you, I've been here for a bit longer, but I will tell you my experience. One of the many courses I did in YouTube was with David Silva. And when I arrived to Google DeepMind, I saw him. He's real, right? And this is the magic of Google DeepMind. All these people that had done the publications, that put courses online, that teach about reinforcement learning and tell you about the future of transformers, all these papers I read, you come here and they are your colleagues, right? It's exciting. It's a very good place to work. I'm very happy to work here.
Well, hopefully, Anna and Anya, there'll be some people who watch this webinar who one day will get to say, I got to work with Anna and Anya, who I saw in that YouTube video. Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for answering those questions.
Ben, I've actually got a question for you. Did you think you were going to get away so easily?
Yes.
So how has AI impacted your job? And what are some of the cool things you've been doing, based around all this content and AI, and how's it been going? What can you share with those listening?
Well, apart from visiting the Google DeepMind offices, you mean? Yeah, I mean, what I see isn't the opportunity to go and learn all these different new things that are really, as we talked about before, kind of these industry-leading things. And it's really exciting for me to work with such a great bunch of people who we have researchers. I get to work with Google DeepMinders and talk about those latest technologies and come up with ideas about how we can bring that into the classroom and make it exciting for young people to learn about. So yeah, I'd say those are the coolest thing about what I'm doing at the moment.
That sounds really, really great. So Ben, I'm so happy you invited me to be part of this webinar. It's been great, hearing from Anna and Anya and Matt, and I feel really jealous about some of the things you guys have been doing. I'm hoping that I get to apply more of the AI tools in my job. I'm really looking forward to that. The information shared has been very rewarding, and I hope everyone, the guests, everybody watching now and later, I hope they find it useful.
Yeah, and likewise, Tessy, it's been great to have you, and it's been wonderful to have the guests as well. You've all been really inspiring and super interesting. Now, Tessy, I believe you are on one of our future webinars coming up in February on AI and ethics. And on that note, we have our next webinar on the 10th of January, that same time, and that will be give us an opportunity to take a deeper dive in some of those concepts that we have in the lessons around what we mean by AI models and the engines that drive those models. So until then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. I hope you miss me till February.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Bye.
You all. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you.